Today we are talking about how to manage content approvals and revisions in Airtable. My name is Andrew Dodds. I am a co-founder here at SimpleStack. And if you've been wondering how to manage your content production workflow in Airtable like a pro, then this one's for you. Let's get into it. Okay, thanks for joining me. Let's get started. I want to first tell you about the goal of this scenario. So let's imagine that we are in charge of managing and running projects related to content that we're going to create for our business. So we're going to use an example of a logo redesign. And a logo might go through many different revisions based on feedback, and we want to be able to track those and manage the approvals. Okay, and to do this at the most simple level, we need only two tables. We've got a content table, which will be a list of the projects. So we'll be doing a logo redesign. This table is probably going to have an assignee. It certainly is going to have a status, right? So to do in progress done. It needs to have a linked record to our revision table where we'll store the individual revisions of that piece of content. If you don't know what a linked record is, take a look at previous videos, and those will help you out. And we're also going to count the number of revisions that we have on a given project here. This is the count field looking at the revisions that are tagged in this linked record field. Okay. We've also got a field or a table over here. This is the revision table. It contains the asset attachment itself over here, a revision number, a status specific to the asset, okay? We've got the content that it's associated to, the linked record, and we've concatenated with a formula, concatenation just to sort of add two pieces of information and fields together, the content, which in this case is that logo redesign, and the revision number, which this one is revision 1, okay? So let me show you how this system can work. Now, by the way, this is just the foundation, and you would probably build an interface on top of this to make this even more user-friendly. We're going to be looking at this in the context of just the data level, okay? So we've got our stuff set up here. We've also got this formula that takes the revision number and just adds 1, and that's going to be important. You'll see in a moment. Now we have a couple of automations that are working for us, but the nice thing here is as a reviewer of the content, so I'm going to put on the hat of the reviewer, I'm going to open up this attachment, and I'm going to take a look at the item, and I can create comments. Okay, so here's my second comment. I said, let's make this pink part of this blue, and I don't like the cutout outline. Let's remove it and try a different font. Now what's great about using these comment sections here is people get notified when you mention them. They can also have notify for all comments selected. So they'll get a notification that there's something new for them to look at here. The last thing I'm going to do as the reviewer is say that I'm requesting a revision by going over the status field here and selecting revision requested. Now what that's going to do is run an automation that's going to create a revision with a new number, revision number 2, for the same logo redesign, okay? And we've got this review revision request status, okay? Now let me show you the automation that made this possible. It's called the create new revision automation, and it uses a trigger that is when a record matches conditions. The status is whenever a revision requested status is input, okay? And then what we tell it is we want to create a record in that same revision table. The revision number will be that formula we have that adds 1 to the previous revision number. We want to link to that same piece of content. You can see that here. And we want to give it a status of review revision request. All right. So the designer goes back, takes that feedback, looks at that feedback, and creates a new version. They're going to upload this version, and then we have another automation that's going to run. Here is our second Airbnb logo. It is now in a new font, but if you watch the status field, you'll see that it moves to ready for approval. Now this ready for approval status happens through this automation called ready for approval. So what we're saying is when the upload field is not empty, then update the status to ready for approval. And by the way, you could additionally send emails to review this information. So I could set up an email here when something's ready for approval, letting me know and linking me to the actual record. And I'm gonna show you how you could do that now. So it's going to change the status to ready for approval. And the other thing I'm going to do is add a send email step. For now, I'm just going to send this to myself. Subject, new revision, ready for approval. And then you can customize your message, hello, a new revision. By accessing the blue plus here, you can bring in dynamic information from the record, meaning it will change depending on the record that triggers it, okay? So a new revision is ready for approval. See the record here. Now, a really interesting thing that you can do in here is hyperlink links. So by using brackets like that around your text, and then by putting a URL in parentheses, so we're going to use, in this case, we'll just use the base record URL, you can generate a hyperlink, okay? So here's an example of what that would look like. So revision number 2 came through. We're testing that now. It moved to ready for approval. Okay, so we're testing that, move the status to ready for approval. And what that would do is send me an email, just go ahead and generate that says, hello, you've got a new revision for this logo design that's ready for approval. See the record here. I can click on that, and that will take me directly to the item in Airtable. Okay. So that's our second automation that's changing the status and sending our email. All right. So I'm going to do one more here. So we're going to say, all right, we want another revision of this. That's going to go ahead and create the next revision record here. And let's say the designer really nails it this time and gets us this logo. We look at this, we decide, hey, we want to go ahead and approve this, okay? Our email went out, ready for approval. I'd like to approve this, so I'm going to go ahead and move this to approved. And the final automation is going to move our logo redesign status to done, okay? Now you'll see that this is now complete. That automation is really simple. I'll show you how you can do that. So we're going to use the same trigger that we used before when a record matches conditions. In the revision table, when that condition is status is approved, then we want to update the record in the content table, and we're going to update the record ID of the link, so the link to that content, okay? So we want the ID, not the name. And then we're going to update that to done. Okay? So that allows us to automatically change this status. Okay. So that is a really, really good start on the basics for how to manage content approvals, content sort of revisions in Airtable on the base layer. Now, keep in mind that you certainly can take this and build upon it, by putting interfaces on top that are going to be more user-friendly and require sort of less going back and forth between the tables. Well, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and if it was helpful and you took something away from it, feel free to like and subscribe. I'm looking forward to seeing you next time, and for now, so long.